Welcome to the video, everyone. I'm Justin Lesko. That's Mike Callahan. Hey, Mike Callahan, do you know who I like purely for no other reason than they post controversial training videos and we can talk about them?
I do. I think I do. Is it Sean Strickland?
It is. What an amazing guess by you.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you and I plan what we're going to say before we actually say it. Regardless, Sean Strickland, as you know, we're sure most of you know, recently knocked out a training partner during sparring, and it's kind of reignited this debate that we had recently touched on regarding how hard is too hard when it comes to training or sparring.
We're going to talk about that, but then also talk about Jiu Jitsu specifically. Is it a good idea to train 100% all the time? Is flow rolling worth it?
Do you know what is worth it? New gear from epicrollbjj.com. And it's especially worth it when you're using the coupon code podcast15.
Epic Roll is jiu-jitsu apparel made by and for grapplers, and they have everything you need.
Gis, rash guards, coffee mugs, keychains, whatever you need, they have you covered there.
Give Epic Roll a follow on the gram at epicrollbjj, and make sure you tag them when you're rocking your new gear.
Yeah, epicrollbjj.com, coupon code podcast15. Now let's argue. Welcome to That Jiu Jitsu Podcast.
So as the person who runs the show's Instagram, and I run my own Instagram, obviously,
Yep.
I always love when Sean Strickland is in the news because he's undoubtedly posted something that will be controversial. And I really like Instagram for the fact that I can post something and I can say, hey, a bunch of people, what do you think about it? And Sean Strickland will always deliver us lots of comments and a lot of debate. This debate about sparring and was Sean Strickland in the right for knocking this dude out? Is it okay because they were training for a fight and it's sparring, or was it a dick move? I have my thoughts. I know you have your thoughts. But we also have two different backgrounds because I am a former professional fighter who sparred a lot in my life. And you are not a former professional fighter, and you have not sparred a lot in your life. So I think we'll have different perspectives. So let's start with you first.
All right. So I'm not a huge Sean Strickland fan to begin with. This isn't the first time that this whole, sparring bullshit has come up, and he's been involved in it. We've seen these videos before. But I do understand that if you're a professional fighter, there's going to be levels to your training, levels to your sparring. And speaking specifically to that, there's going to be levels of intensity, to your training. So yeah, I understand that it's not a normal Tuesday night kickboxing class at the gym, when you have a UFC fighter who's preparing for a fight, especially a highly ranked UFC fighter. I think that you need to recognize the abilities of your training partners. And it's not just on him either, right? Because it's on his coach. Like if these guys are just warm bodies that you're throwing in to the lion's den to let them get mauled, like that's fucked up on the coach's part. And that's not really on Sean Strickland. But if these guys are high level guys who are capable of pushing the pace and not necessarily matching him when it comes to abilities, but pushing him. I think that that's okay. So my biggest problem with Sean Strickland, it goes back to the Orlando Sanchez thing, and it has nothing to do with me being an Orlando Sanchez fanboy, which I am. Shout out Orlando Sanchez. Just feel free to respond to me once or twice, dog, on Instagram. Like, you don't got to ignore us. We're fans. But anyway,
it's not gonna happen.
It will eventually. I'm playing long. I'm going long term here. Long term goals. Orlando Sanchez. Anyway, you can't pick and choose when you're doing this, and if get pissed off at Orlando Sanchez for what he did. Right. And then, go a million miles per hour with other people in sparring. And it doesn't, it's not a good look. That's all. If you're going to go
So
hard all the time, you can't get pissed off when people go hard at you. And I know he's going to say that was jujitsu and he had a fight coming up, but that's bullshit. If you're going to go hard all the time, then people are going to come to expect that of you. And when they go hard back, you can't really bitch about it.
with the video, like it's hard sometimes with these videos because we come in with no context. You're just picking up in the middle of the action. Same thing with the Orlando Sanchez video. Same thing with this video with Sean Strickland. My problem with the video is that Sean Strickland, it's not a situation where he caught him with one shot
No.
and the dude was KO'd.
Mm-mm.
This dude was wobbled.
Oh,
This
yeah.
dude was not standing up straight on his own. This dude was in trouble. So at that point in sparring, that's a punching bag. So for you to throw a head kick to put him down, which is what he did, you're essentially throwing a head kick at a punching bag because the punching bag is not going to hit back. And this dude was not in a position to hit back. And whether this dude that he's sparring with is a UFC champion or an amateur fighter, a person who's wobbled like that, you can put them down with a shot or choose not to. I've always had the approach in sparring where if I'm sparring with someone and they're clearly rocked, they're clearly wobbled, there's not the round is over. I'm just not going to punch them in the head until I can see that they're fully recovered. I'm going to move around. I'm going to throw some lighter attacks to the body or to the legs. Choosing to hit an opponent and a partner who is clearly already compromised is not benefiting you at all, and it's really harming them. So I don't see the point in it.
Let's not act like Sean Strickland is like this fucking guy, like, zen and fucking at peace. And just, this is a guy who said that he wants to, isn't he the one who said he wants to fucking kill somebody in the ring or something?
I don't remember specifically him saying that, but it wouldn't surprise me. Mike's getting his phone out.
Hold on. Yeah. It was this year. He said, Sean Strickland, this is on MMA Junkie, following his win over Uriah Hall, he said with a straight face that he would love nothing more than to kill somebody in the ring.
Yeah, so that's the
Bro,
type
do
of
you need
person we're dealing with here.
Bro, do you need a hug? Like, what the fuck? Like, again, we talked about this, and I don't want to like continuously like beat this drum, but these guys are fighters, right? We talked about Joe Riggs, and and at the end of the day, like, it has nothing to do with like, like Dana White said this in the past, like some of these guys are, thugs and you're talking about like being civilized and everything. It does, like, they're fighters, right? I get that. But at the end of the day, this is a sport. Okay? It's an occupation. People do this for a living. The goal is not to fucking kill people.
Right. And
like
just from an approach, like an approach to sparring and an approach to training, I've always liked the model of light to the head, hard to the body, 100% to the legs, because you only get so many shots to the head. You only get so many times in your life you can get hit in the head and come back from it and not have it completely derail your entire career. You can throw with speed to the head and not power. You can still throw snappy, quick punches without 100% power behind them. It can be done. It's not like you're sparring in slow motion. This is a sport where you only get paid if you fight, right? You only get paid if you show up and fight. If your fight gets canceled, 99% of the time, they're not still cutting you a check. You need to make it to the fight. You need your opponent to make it to the fight. You get to a point of diminishing returns where you say, I want to spar at 100%, so I want people throwing 100% power at me so I get used to defending it. You're going to get hit in sparring. You just are. And if you're encouraging people to spar at 100% with shots to the head over and over and over every week, every time you train, you're not going to make it to the fight. You're going to make it to the fight more compromised than you want to be.
The gym that Justin and I came up in, there were jiu-jitsu classes most nights of the week, and then there were we had a couple of nights of Muay Thai classes, but Thursday nights was the MMA class. And as this school got bigger, and as we had as this stable of fighters grew, it became like that was the night that these guys would go in there, and that was the night that they would go hard. It was their sparring night. It was MMA night at Revolution on Thursday nights. And if you went in there Friday morning for class, like I remember I would go in there and there'd be fucking blood on the mats, or like you'd go in the bathroom and there's bloody fucking I remember saying to Anthony a couple times, I'm like, what happens in here on Thursday nights? Is it is this a war zone in here? And he's like, yeah, they go pretty hard, but it's never ever like we never had any of those issues at that gym. Maybe we had other issues at that gym, but we never had the right. We never had issues at that gym where guys were trying to kill each other, and part of that was Anthony. Anthony set that tone early on. Like he didn't put up with that kind of bullshit in that place. But for the most part, like you guys would go in there, you would go hard on Thursday nights, but it was never about trying to tear each other's heads off.
Sparring will always have a natural escalation. Even if you're light sparring, I might hit you at 10% and you hit me at 11. So the next time I hit you at 12, and before you know it, we're hitting each other at 100% power. Like it's just, there's a natural escalation to sparring. It's important to have the trust in your sparring partners that you can control your emotion of, okay, he probably hit me a little harder than he intended to, so I'm not going to hit him harder on purpose. Or like you said, having the recognition of we're teammates, you're going to do this once a week. We're going to come in and thump on each other. Like it can't be a fist fight. It needs to be sparring. It's not trying to kill each other. I've always liked the quote. I think I first heard it from Conor McGregor's coach, John Kavanaugh, where he said, you need to upgrade the software without damaging the hardware. And I think that's a pretty good encapsulation. You need to upgrade your ability, upgrade your technique, upgrade your reads and your timing, without smashing your fucking brain in.
I don't expect Sean Strickland to say, "Oh, those two idiots on that Jiu Jitsu podcast said that I went too far, so maybe I should tone it down." Like, no, then this is just an opinion. Like, it's fucking wrong, and he's not the only one to blame there. Who's ever overseeing that training should have intervened before that guy hit the mat.
Each gym will have different culture. Each gym will have different rules, and if the way they roll there is. If the way that they train there is sparring is a full-on fight and it's not over until the round ends or someone goes down, and all parties know that going into the round, you can't fault Sean Strickland because Sean Strickland is just doing, what is expected of him or what everyone expects to happen at that gym. What I'm saying is, if I have an MMA gym, that is not the culture and that is not an efficient way to spar or what we should do. So I don't like it, like I said, because the guy was wobbled. I don't think that people should spar that way. If they do, then I can't tell them, like you said, who am I to say you shouldn't do it that way if that's the way you do it? If that's the way they do it, they're stupid and they shouldn't, but that's the way they do it. So this whole thing, you and I were talking about, hard sparring versus lighter sparring and being smarter in sparring, and jiu-jitsu specifically, flow rolls exist. And for anyone who's not familiar with the flow roll, it's basically just you're not drilling, you're actually rolling, but you're rolling at a very light pace. You don't have the intention of actually hitting a submission. You're just kind of moving through positions and flowing, which is why it's called that. I have a very strong opinion about flow rolls. I know you have a probably different opinion. I think flow rolls are stupid and I don't like them.
No, I have the same opinion. The only time, and a lot of it's the mentality of the gym I'm at now, at United. The only time that we flow roll, and the only time I've ever flow rolled at that gym is when at the beginning of an open mat or beginning of a competition class where they're just like, hey, listen guys, we're just getting warmed up, just grab somebody and just flow roll for a round just to get warmed up. But other than that, anytime that you walk through the doors there, you don't flow roll. You're banging for 6 minutes. You're banging for 6 minutes on your feet, and people are getting launched around that fucking gym. So yeah, flow rolling's not. They don't flow roll in Jenkintown.
I like hard training. Jiu Jitsu is a sport you can train 100% of the time with minimal risk of injury. You're not training 100% in Muay Thai and getting head kicked. You're just training 100% and getting armbarred. And you tap and you move on to the next thing. Flow roll is okay if you're coming back from an injury or you're just trying to move around. I don't even like a flow roll for a warm up because just like sparring, it has a natural escalation. And I'm always worried, am I being a bad training partner? Am I not being flowy enough? Am I doing too much? And I don't like that feeling.
No.
I don't get anything out of it. I don't get cardio out of it. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't get better technique out of it because I'm moving at 15% of my speed and power. I know a lot of people like it because they say that they'll try new things that they wouldn't try in a real round, but if you're going to do that, just drill it.
Yeah, just drill it.
Yeah. So
I always like to know that I'm being pushed, in my mind, harder in practice than I could be in competition, right? So like it was almost like a luxury, not at the time because you're getting pushed to the brink, and that's how it is at United too. Like I know that on a consistent basis, I'm being pushed harder in training than I will in competition, or that's how hard the training is. Like when you can barely catch your breath at the end, when you're just like kind of laying on the mats because you're so spent at the end, you're like, there's no way a competition can be this hard. There's no way one super fight. At that point, you can do 10 minutes standing on your head. When you do 10 6-minute rounds from the feet, you're like, Jesus Christ, like how hard is one match going to be after this? So it doesn't seem like a luxury at the time, but it's a huge benefit.
If anything, do situational sparring. Okay, we're going to start in bottom side control and work out and then get back. That's a good warm up. It's not a full intense round. You can kind of just keep resetting once the position changes. But I get why some people like flow rolls. But for me, if I'm walking through the door, I want hard, intense rounds. I'm not there for easy goings. But I guess do it if you like it. Again, who am I to say? Like if someone likes flow rolls, like go ahead, man, to your heart's content. But if you come to my school, you will nary find a flow roll.
If it's awkward when you try and up the pace when someone's flow rolling, but
right, you always feel like you're the jerk for like being more intense. But
yeah,
we're jerks for plenty of other reasons. I don't need to be a jerk in a flow roll.
That's it. Yeah, I'm an asshole for sure.
And a nice spot to end on.
All right, guys, thank you all for hanging out. Don't forget to comment below just to let us know which side of the debate you're on here. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
While you're down there commenting, you might as well smash that thumbs up button and also make sure you're subscribed to the channel. There is a lot of content coming shortly, so you're not going to want to miss it.
Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.